Hello, ladies. There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the future of the water and wastewater industry and the careers you didn't know about. I'm your host, Dave Kosminski, and we are at the At Cave, which is the annual vendor conference and vendor expo. And we have a new friend, okay, that is actually, that I've never met before, but she's actually new in the industry, and would like to welcome Ms. Zoe Schwartz to the podcast. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up. Okay. So you're new in the industry. Okay.
Yes.
So how did you get in the industry? I know you're working for Snyder Civil. So how did you get in the industry?
Yeah, so my husband worked for Snyder.
Okay.
And at the Christmas party, I got to talk into their finance director, and we hit it off, and I sent my resume in, and they called me, and I thought it was a great opportunity to get into a new industry and learn some new things.
So what was your career path education-wise getting out of high school and going into college?
Yeah, so I started on the nonprofit track. So I have degrees in political science and public policy, and then I also have my master's degree in public administration.
Uh-huh. Nice. And so obviously, do you live in Portland?
I do live in Portland,
Oh, that's nice.
I love Portland.
There you go. Well, we've had a few Portlandites on the podcast, okay? Yeah. Don was one of my first ones on the podcast, but we've had quite a few that work for Snyder in there. So what do you like working with the water industry?
It's really been fantastic to meet so many people who have been doing this for so long. They are so knowledgeable. They're so committed to making sure that people have clean, drinkable water. And it's really impressive just the amount of knowledge that they've accumulated over the years and the amount of information that they have to share. It's incredible.
Sure. Now, your function in the at the office now, what's your basic responsibility?
Absolutely. So I'm the manager of business development. So I am writing all of our contracts. I am doing all of our events like At Cave, all of our career fairs.
Nice.
We have an annual golf tournament that supports the Epilepsy Foundation of Connecticut. So I run that every year. Last year we raised $25,000 for the Epilepsy Foundation.
Very nice.
Which is also so much fun and really kind of as needed. We're kind of a smaller administrative staff, so I do some HR, I do some finance, I do a little bit of everything on top of those other responsibilities.
As you know, the water industry, it's the umbrella is a large umbrella, and components, working within the industry and with your finance background, HR background, you kind of get a taste of a little of everything.
You definitely do, and it's always fun.
Well, and that's the thing, the whole premise of me creating and launching this podcast is basically making high school seniors, college, freshmen and so forth, aware of some of the availability of careers that are very stable and, careers in the water industry aren't really something that you can outsource. You need feet on the ground, boots on the ground. You can't outsource it, across the pond like, a lot of the IT functions and so forth, do. So I know, from the type of business that Don has developed. I mean, he gets into, he just launched a construction component of the business last year, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And we're working on now. So tell us a little bit about that, how that works.
Sure, yeah. So we have a construction firm that was launched as its own LLC this year that kind of grew out of our engineering firm.
Yep.
And so they work on a lot of the design build projects with our engineering team. So our engineers design it, and then our construction crew can build it.
Well, you get one-stop shopping.
Exactly.
As far as that. Now that's great. Now, so what high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Perry High School in Gilbert, Arizona.
Really?
Yep. So I went to a couple different high schools. We moved around a lot.
Okay, you're a transplant to
Yes.
Connecticut. Okay, so Perry, Arizona. Now, whereabouts is that? My son was stationed at Fort Huachuca, down in on the border.
Okay, yeah, we lived in Chandler, and it was a Chandler district school that was in the town of Gilbert.
Okay.
But it's about 20 minutes outside of Phoenix.
Okay.
Not too bad.
And now, how did your path get to Connecticut? Is your husband?
Yeah, so I came out to go to school in Massachusetts, and then I came down to do my master's degree at UConn, and then I met my husband, and
Go Huskies.
that was that. Go Huskies, yep. Women just clinched the Big East last night.
Yeah, that wasn't too shabby at all. They played, they've been having a tough time with the injuries and so forth, but they've been faring out pretty well.
Resilient group.
They really
They're
have.
the best.
Somehow Gino brings it out of them.
Oh, yeah.
as far as that goes. So, obviously, the types of jobs that you guys do and consulting, you have inspectors that go out and inspect pipelines and so forth. And
Yep.
how does that work now?
Yeah, so we have our resident project representatives, and they're the ones on site making sure that the contractors are installing
Okay.
according to the engineer's drawings.
Uh-huh.
So they're the ones making sure that everything's getting done the way it's supposed to. They coordinate with traffic control. They coordinate with contractors, with utility project managers, with our engineers and our people in the office. So they really are eyes and ears out there.
Nice. Now, when you started, did you think you'd be doing such a diverse range of jobs?
I didn't. I think that's kind of the beauty of a company like Snyder Civil, right? Is that I get to do a lot of different things, and there's never a dull moment. It's always fun. There's always something new, and I think it kind of shows the diversity of the water field.
Sure.
The water industry is.
After you get done with the podcast, you're going to actually go down and scoop ice cream.
Absolutely.
That's been one of Donnie's trademarks for years. Is just to hand out ice cream at that cave. So you get to scoop out ice cream.
Yep, we've got that Yukon Dairy Bar ice cream, and
yeah,
it's going to be good.
Yeah, go Yukon. Fantastic. So, on a personal side, what do you do for fun?
I love to bake. I love to get out. I've got 2 dogs.
Okay.
So we walk the airline trail a lot.
Nice. What kind of dogs?
I have an Australian Shepherd and a chocolate lab mix.
Okay.
I think she's got some pit bull in her because she's got a giant head, but
Okay,
we're
all
not
right.
really sure.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's good. And the airline trail. That's a lot of people use that.
Yes.
They really do. So where do you normally go out to? Middle Haddam Road at the trailhead
Yep.
and walk from there?
Exactly. Yeah, we've walked. We'll ride our bikes. Even that new park in Portland, we'll take the dogs and walk that loop there.
Okay, yeah.
Beautiful, and there's
That's
always
actually
people and dogs.
That's actually a half a mile loop.
Yep.
I had to do the GPS, and I had to because everybody. How long is that
Yep.
trail? So I went out with my students. We actually walked it with our Tremble GPS unit, so
Yep.
we know exactly where it is. And there are many loops within that park as far as that goes. But the park does get a lot of use out there.
Yep.
That really does. So anyway, so how long you been with Snyder now?
Almost a year.
Almost a year.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, no, we've had, obviously Donnie's been on, and Zach has been on.
Yep.
Okay. I think Kyle, who else we have on?
Steve?
Steve was on. That's
Yep.
right. Yes. Steve and I go back a long time, and Steve is a veteran of the water industry.
Yes.
And a lot of knowledge base there.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
coming from Connecticut Water, and Donnie was lucky to snag him because he's got. Not only is he well connected within the industry, there's a huge knowledge base there.
Oh yeah. He's the best. He's
And
the best guy.
there isn't many things that Steve has not done. you know.
Very true.
And he's not that bad of a golfer. One of his cohorts, which we're going to get up here on the podcast, Mr. Dan Lisneski.
Mm-hmm.
Dan's going to come on the podcast too, and he's another one that. And I think Dan did some part-time work for Donnie.
Yeah, I know Dan pretty well. He he comes to all of our golf tournaments. He's on our golf committee.
Oh, yeah.
He's a huge resource, and yeah, I believe he did do some work for Snyder as well.
Yes,
so.
yes, I know. I think that was part of Steve's doing. I know somebody. I know a guy. And
He always knows a guy.
Absolutely. You get to a point where, knowing people, and I tell my students when I'm my water and people class, I says, never underestimate, the value of networking, because you never know, especially, coming to an event like this where you're dealing with operators, you're dealing with vendors, you never know when you're going to need somebody. And, if you have that business card, say, oh, let me give that a call.
Yep.
Okay. It's huge because a lot of times when I'm bringing some of my students back from the high school and so forth, and driving in Portland, and everybody's waving, and my students say, "Is there anybody in town that you don't know?" So I says, "Well, I've been around." Okay. This is actually going to be my 50th year. I'm coming up on my 50th year in the water industry.
Wow! Congratulations.
forth,
That's incredible.
I started out, my college career was I'm actually a music teacher, and I was teaching. My first part-time job was actually a part-time job at a prep school, Loomis Chafee up in Windsor, and it was 4/5 time. but I had worked all the way through high school and all the way through college for the Portland Water Department. And, unfortunately, we had a selectman that got into office and said either you're working full-time or no time. And my wife was pregnant with our first child. I says, well, I think I'll maybe work for a couple of years. And 50 years later, I'm still here. So,
wow.
Anyway,
so that's how you know Kyle Armstrong.
yes.
Yeah, okay. Kyle's a friend of mine.
Okay.
I know Kyle. Yep.
Kyle is Kyle is a graduate of my Water and People class.
Oh, awesome.
He got the certification through the high school. Okay, and is now working for our water department.
Yep. Oh, I see him driving those Portland trucks.
Yeah, and he's well versed in IT. He's got it together. So go from there. So anyway, Zoe, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it and giving your perspective of your day job in the water field and so forth. But good luck in the future. Take care, and we'll see you down on the show floor.
Thank you so much. Sounds great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the future of the water and wastewater industry and the careers you did not know about. And with us for this segment is a Portlandite, Miss Zoe Schwartz, who is actually works for Snyder Civil Engineering as in their accounting department. So thank you so much, Zoe. Be well, and stay tuned for our next episode.